This is a fake one-sided rivalry. We got Angel Reese taking more shots at Caitlin Clark unnecessarily. You in Indiana having a great time partying. We see all the clips. Why can't you just do your thing?
This is a one-sided rivalry that's getting old fast. Angel Reese keeps taking shots at Caitlin Clark for no reason, trying to steal the spotlight while Clark's just living her life in Indiana. You've seen the clips? Clark's out there enjoying herself, not bothering anyone. So why can't Reese just do her thing? Why does she keep poking at a fight that only exists in her head? Let's break down the exact moment Reese's latest marketing stunt blew up in her face and how it exposed the truth about this so-called rivalry. Picture this: WNBA All-Star Weekend in Indianapolis, July 2025. The stage is...
Can Sarah Spain and the media stop going out there and saying that, the Caitlin Clark needs to do something to stop all this, when it is very clear this is a one-sided beef, and the one-sided beef is not from Caitlin Clark?
The stage is set for a blockbuster showdown. Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever's hometown hero, is supposed to face off against Angel Reese, the Chicago Sky's rising star, in front of a packed Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The hype was real. ESPN was calling it must-see TV. Nike had special edition gear ready to drop, and corporate sponsors were pouring money into the weekend, banking on the Clark-Reese rivalry to deliver record-breaking viewership and engagement. Fans had been planning trips for months, booking flights and hotels, ready to see Clark dominate on her home turf. Restaurants in Indianapolis were gearing up for crowds they hadn't seen since the NCAA's March Madness.
We do start our show, though, with unfortunate news out of the WNBA. Caitlin Clark announced today that she will miss both the three-point contest and the WNBA All-Star Game this upcoming weekend in Indiana after re-aggravating a groin injury in that final minute of Tuesday's win over the Connecticut Sun. Clark had missed 4 games and the Commissioner's Cup final with that groin injury earlier this month, and now will be out for this weekend's festivities, which really stinks for fans, but you know that if there was any way that she could be out...
Social media was buzzing with countdown posts, hot takes, and predictions about who'd come out on top. This was supposed to be the moment women's basketball finally cemented its place in mainstream sports culture. But then, the script flipped. Just days before the All-Star weekend, news broke that Caitlin Clark had re-aggravated a groin injury in the final minute of a win over the Connecticut Sun. She'd already missed 4 games in the Commissioner's Cup final earlier that month due to the same injury. And now she was ruled out for both the three-point contest and the All-Star Game. The announcement hit like a gut punch. Fans who'd shelled out big money for tickets were crushed. Hotels, restaurants, and vendors who'd banked on a basketball tourism boom were left scrambling. And the WNBA, which had built its entire marketing campaign around Clark's star power, watched
Caitlin Clark gets hurt, and guess what? Your demand vanishes because people ain't going to pay up to see these athletes that are ungrateful that their sport's growing. People aren't paying up for that. And we are here, right here. The tickets for this game, for this All-Star game, they've dropped by 50%.
Power. Watched its carefully laid plans start to crumble. The numbers tell the story. According to TickPick, the average ticket price for the All-Star game dropped 48% almost overnight, from $121 to $64. After Clark's injury was announced. Before the news, the game was on track to be the most expensive in WNBA history, with an average purchase price of $262. That record-breaking demand vanished faster than you can say groin strain. A July 16th article from Front Office Sports confirmed the pre-injury hype, noting the $121 get-in price before Clark's absence was official.
But when it comes to the vendors in the arena, the shops in the arena, they're not going to have the same amount of people patronize their business as they would if Caitlin Clark was there. The surrounding restaurants, the surrounding areas, the surrounding attractions, they're not going to have the same number of people patronize their business as they would if Caitlin Clark was
official. A July 8th post from NBA Central on X echoed the same, highlighting the 48% price collapse. This wasn't just a dip. It was the market screaming that without Caitlin Clark, the WNBA's product loses nearly half its value. This wasn't just about one game, though. Clark's absence exposed how much the WNBA's recent growth depends on her. She's not just a star, she's a phenomenon. Since being drafted first overall by the Indiana Fever in 2024, Clark has single-handedly brought new eyes to the league. Casual sports fans who never cared about women's basketball started tuning in just to see what the hype was about. Her record-breaking college career at Iowa, where she became the NCAA's all-time leading scorer, set the stage.
Reebok, Angel Reese are taking shots at Caitlin Clark, using her as promo. Angel Reese, let's be clear here. Let's just be all the way clear here. Angel Reese is a solid basketball player. Angel Reese 100% has benefited from attaching herself to Caitlin Clark at every single turn. Her podcast, the first 3 episodes, all the clips promoting was bringing up Caitlin Clark. It was bringing up Caitlin Clark and all of the promo. People wanted to know what she was going to say. She used Caitlin Clark as promo.
Set the stage. But her transition to the pros has been even bigger. She's shattered WNBA viewership records, with her games regularly pulling in millions more viewers than typical league matchups. Her presence on the court inflates ticket prices, merchandise sales, and TV ratings in ways the WNBA has never seen before. When she missed regular season games in May due to a quad strain, resale prices for Fever road games dropped 47% for a game in Washington and a staggering 71% for a game in Chicago. That's not normal athlete impact. That's superstar economics.
Promo.
Local
Angel
businesses.
Reese, I'm in your city. Walk in your trap, take over your trap. Post it on Instagram. There's about 15 fans there, and Reebok put up a board. You would expect Reebok to put up a board. Let's never forget that when let's never forget the gigantic Caitlin Clark Nike billboard in Chicago. Let's never forget that. So if Reebok didn't put up a board for Angel Reese,
Local businesses in Indianapolis felt the fallout hard. The All-Star Weekend was supposed to be a gold mine, with fans flooding the city to see Clark in her home state. Hotels had sold out months in advance. Restaurants were staffed up, ready for crowds they hadn't seen since the NCAA tournament brought March Madness to town. Concession stands and merchandise vendors were banking on packed arenas. But when Clark went down, so did the economic ecosystem around the event. The ripple effect was brutal. Fewer fans meant less revenue for everyone, from hot dog vendors to high-end restaurants.
You continue to take shots at her, and then when them shots get fired back, nobody likes it. We don't have no videos of Caitlin Clark really taking shots at Angel Reese. Look at what Angel Reese and Reebok are doing for views. Walk in your trap, take over your trap. This is promo they're doing in Indianapolis, where Caitlin Clark plays. That is a clear shot. It's a clear shot. Like I said, this is a fake rivalry. I think you've won one game versus Caitlin Clark. You've never won in Indiana at all. It's just like you continue to attach yourself to her at every turn.
High-end restaurants. The WNBA had bet big on Clark's star power, and her absence laid bare just how fragile the league's momentum is without her. Now you'd think this would be a moment for the league to rally together, show some class, and focus on the bigger picture, celebrating the growth of women's basketball. Most players did just that, toning down their competitive banter and expressing disappointment for Clark and the fans. But not Angel Reese. While Clark was sidelined with a legitimate injury, Reese saw an opportunity to make the weekend all about her. She rolled out her Reebok signature shoe campaign with a bold, in-your-face message, "I'm in your city." Billboards went up across Indianapolis, social media posts flooded X and Instagram, and Reese even used Bankroll Fresh's "Take Over Your Trap" as the soundtrack for her Instagram story. The messaging was unmistakable. She was trying to claim Clark's home turf while Clark couldn't even step on the court to defend it. Let's be clear, Angel Reese is a talented player. She's a double-double machine, a fierce competitor, and a marketable personality in her own right. But she's undeniably benefited from attaching herself to Caitlin Clark at every turn. Her podcast, launched earlier this season, leaned heavily on Clark's name in its first 3 episodes, with promos and clips constantly referencing their supposed rivalry. Her social media presence thrives on the drama, and her Reebok deal, culminating in this shoe launch, was built on the narrative of challenging Clark. The problem? Clark isn't playing that game. She's never taken public shots at Reese, never engaged in the trash talk. When Clark plays, she lets her performance do the talking. Like when she dropped 31 points and 12 assists in Chicago, setting a WNBA record as the only player ever to hit those marks in a single game. Reese, meanwhile, has never beaten Clark in Indiana as a pro. The head-to-head record is lopsided, Yet Reese keeps trying to manufacture a rivalry that doesn't exist. The timing of Reese's campaign couldn't have been worse, or more calculated, depending on how you look at it. Launching a territorial takeover in Clark's hometown while she's injured? That's not competition. It's opportunism dressed up as confidence. Fans saw right through it. Social media lit up with reactions, ranging from playful jabs to outright criticism. On X, comments poured in calling the move classless and desperate. One user wrote, "Reese out here acting like she's won something when Clark can't even play. Weak." Another said, "This is why it's a one-sided beef. Clark's focused on ball, not billboards." Some fans applauded the marketing hustle, noting that Reese's team knows how to generate buzz, even if it's negative. But the overwhelming sentiment was that Reese was trying to claim victory in a fight where her opponent couldn't show up. Reese didn't back off either. While other All-Stars shifted their focus to celebrating the league's growth, she doubled down on the campaign, pushing the "Take Over Your Trap" messaging full steam ahead. It was a stark contrast to the rest of the league, where players like Aja Wilson and Brianna Stewart expressed sympathy for Clark and emphasized the need to keep building the WNBA's momentum. Reese's approach felt like shadowboxing in an empty gym, loud, flashy, but ultimately hollow without Clark there to make it a real contest. The backlash wasn't just about Reese, though. The All-Star Weekend took another hit when WNBA players decided to use the event as a platform for labor protests. During warm-ups, players wore shirts reading, "Pay us what you owe us," a nod to ongoing CBA negotiations with the league. The players have legitimate grievances. Salaries haven't kept pace with the WNBA's growth, especially with a new $2 billion media rights deal set to kick in next year. WNBPA President Nneka Ogwumike has been vocal about the need for better travel conditions, higher pay, expanded rosters, and more support for mothers in the league. These are real issues that deserve attention. But the timing? Brutal. The protest came right when fan sentiment was at its lowest. Ticket prices had just crashed 48% because Clark couldn't play. Fans who'd spent hundreds on travel and tickets were already frustrated, and now they were watching players demand more money while the event's value was tanking. Social media erupted with criticism. One X post summed it up. "WNBA players out here demanding raises when half the fans only showed up for Clark. Read the room." Another user wrote, "You don't see NBA players wearing protest shirts at All-Star Weekend. This is why people are turning off." The optics were terrible. Players seemed out of touch, biting the hand that feeds them while the league's biggest draw was sidelined. Compare that to other sports leagues. The NBA doesn't use its All-Star Weekend for labor disputes. The NFL doesn't turn the Super Bowl into a platform for contract negotiations. There's a time and place for these conversations, and a marquee showcase event, isn't it? WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert called the CBA talks productive and constructive, but players dismissed them as a missed opportunity. Even Clark, who's been outspoken about the need for better pay, didn't join the protest. She's consistently kept her focus on the game and the fans, which only highlights the contrast with Reese's approach. So why does this matter? Because this weekend proves something undeniable. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player, she's the foundation of the WNBA's current growth. When she's healthy, arenas sell out, TV ratings soar, and merchandise flies off the shelves. When she's out, the league feels it in a big way. The 48% ticket price drop wasn't just a number, it was a wake-up call. No other player in the WNBA moves the needle like Clark does right now. Not Aja Wilson, not Brianna Stewart, not even Angel Reese with her billboards and Instagram stories. The market doesn't lie. Fans value the product at half the price without Clark. This isn't to say Reese isn't talented or marketable. She's carved out a strong brand, and her Reebok deal is proof she's got corporate backing. But her success has been amplified by latching onto Clark's name. Every mention of Clark in her promos, every jab in her campaigns, it's all designed to keep the rivalry narrative alive, even if it's one-sided. Reese has made millions off this strategy, and her team deserves credit for knowing how to stir the pot. But there's a fine line between bold marketing and overplaying your hand, and Reese crossed it in Indianapolis. Fans saw her campaign as punching down at an injured opponent, and the backlash was swift. The bigger picture here is what this means for the WNBA. The league is at a crossroads. Clark's emergence has brought unprecedented attention and revenue, but it's also exposed a vulnerability: the reliance on one player. Having a transcendent star like Clark is a blessing. She's brought casual fans, corporate dollars, and mainstream media coverage to a league that's long struggled for relevance. But when she goes down, the whole foundation wobbles. The WNBA needs to figure out how to build on this momentum without being so dependent on one person. That means investing in other stars, improving the on-court product, and, yes, addressing player concerns about pay and working conditions. But it also means reading the room and picking the right moments to make those demands. For now, though, Clark's absence has only made her value clearer. Her return, whether it's later this season or in 2025, will be a massive moment for the Fever and the league. The All-Star Weekend was a missed opportunity, but it's also a reminder of what Clark brings to the table. Reese can keep launching campaigns, putting up billboards, and claiming cities, but without Clark on the court, it's just noise. The fans, the numbers, and the market all agree. Clark is the show. So let's wrap this up with a reality check. Angel Reese's "I'm in your city" stunt backfired because it exposed the truth. This rivalry only exists because she keeps pushing it. Clark's out there dealing with real basketball challenges while Reese is playing for clout. The WNBA learned a hard lesson about its dependence on Clark, and the players learned that timing matters when you're asking for more. This weekend was supposed to crown women's basketball as a mainstream force. Instead, it showed how much work is left to do, and how much one player means to the equation. Drop Baby Giraffe in the comments to roast Reese's latest stunt. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next. The Fever's championship run is coming, and Clark's return is going to be epic. Let's go.